welcome to a brand new episode of Look Forward. I'm your host, Jay. I'm here with my co-host, Brad.
So I'm just going to head off at the pass immediately. The handful of right-wing assholes that come in on our comments every now and then that are going to feel compelled to take the other side of the argument.
Sure.
And just let them know that my response to them is a blanketed, take the barrel of your long rifle and shove it directly up your asshole.
That's fair. I think that's fair.
Because that's where we're at today.
I don't even think that's offensive because these people like Ted Nugent, and that's what he said about Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, and that was seen as acceptable to say after visiting the White House with Donald Trump. So I'm in agreement with you.
Yeah.
Look, we're gonna get mean. This is gonna be a mean episode. Brad and I were talking before we hit record. Look, if you liked the sort of almost single-mindedness of the Roe v. Wade episode we did a couple weeks ago, when all that shit came down, well, you're probably going to love this one because we're going to talk about, obviously, the mass shooting in Texas that happened. And we're going to focus heavily on sort of the systemic issues there and like why we aren't moving on this topic like we should be, and the people who are responsible. And the people who are not, and also the people who are not responsible.
Yeah,
I think
Spoiler: the people who are responsible, not generally the people that a lot of folks on leftist Twitter are feeling it necessary to go after today.
Yeah, I'm going to need people in the do something side of Twitter. I need you to shut up because yelling that does nothing, and not only does it do nothing, yelling it at people who want the change and can't make it happen because of the system that we have, that's not their fault. It's not. And I get it. Like, Biden's the president, so you want him to do something. Like, he's not a king. He's not a king. Like, this is not. I messaged Micah. I did a screenshot of someone saying that about Biden's speech. And I said this to Micah, and he goes, "You make fun of me for my calling me a fascist because I think everyone should be ruled." And he goes, "And look at all these people; they're crying out for a single ruler right now."
You know what? Fuck it. We're here. We might as well stay here for a little bit. We're getting the fucking hyper leftist anger out. I thought I was not going to be able to stay mad all day today. Lo and behold, still just as pissed off today as I was yesterday. Yeah. So we got that going for us, which is nice.
And I will say this. I am not as mad at the far left as I am obviously at the right in this. But
I just mean I'm generally mad.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. You're a dad, right? Like that's the thing. Right. It's like when I thought about it, like when I heard the news yesterday and it was at that point it was 14 kids, which was already fucking awful. And now it's at the time of us recording, it's 19 because some of the kids passed away from their injuries. And 2 teachers. I don't want to forget them as well. When I thought about it last night, when I got the news, I was fucking heartbroken about it because it's just fucking devastating, and it is Sandy Hook all over again, right? These are young elementary age kids. And I believe that was 9 years ago.
10 years, almost 10.
Almost 10 years. Yeah. And then when I thought about it again this morning, I was walking into work and I almost fucking lost it because yesterday I thought about how fucking tragic it is and how ridiculous it is and just the brutality of it and like what the fuck is wrong with this country. And then today I thought about what would I do if that was my kid? And all I could think is like losing my daughter would be the most devastating thing to ever happen in my entire life.
Look, none. Sandy Hook was bad.
And those 19 parents, those 19 families have to deal with that. And it's fucking
look, Sandy Hook was awful, but it just hits different when you have a kid. And none of us had kids like you and I in 2012. And it just hits different. It does. I'm sorry, but it does. Yeah. I need people on the far left to understand that the people who are actually responsible for where we're at right now are counting on you to yell at Joe Biden. And they're counting on you to yell at Chuck Schumer. And they're counting on you to yell at Nancy Pelosi and Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema. Because the more that you yell at them, the less that you're yelling at Republicans. And it's Republicans who are to blame, period. The reason that we don't have, gun control legislation is not because, it's partially because Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema won't vote to lift the filibuster, but it's also because that we don't have at least 10 Republicans that are willing to sign on to this because of the treasure trove, the Scrooge McDuck, vault style of money that is being poured into them by the gun lobby.
Right. You don't get to just dismiss, yes, Kyrsten Sinema and yes, Joe Manchin are pieces of shit. No doubt about it. 100% don't disagree with that. But you don't get to give a pass to an entire fucking party just because
they're the reason.
Right.
They're the reason.
Right.
That's why it's happening.
Right. You don't have to, I get it, wanting to go after them. And look, again, you shouldn't give them, cover. But it is 100% the Republican Party because you cannot, like you said, you cannot find 10 people with any level of moral certainty that, I wouldn't even say moral certainty, moral backbone to do it. Because there's nobody on the Republican Party. Look, I will give them a humanizing moment. I'm going to call them pieces of shit because they are, but I'll give them a humanizing moment. There's not a single Republican that heard about that wasn't fucking heartbroken about it. It's 19 kids. They got kids, they got grandkids, they got nieces and nephews. I don't think any of them think, yeah, man, that's fine, whatever. But I do think they are so morally fucking repugnant that money matters more than someone else's kids. They would be heartbroken if it was one of their kids. They would be devastated. And I don't people are they don't give a shit about people. No, they don't give a shit about you. They don't give a fuck about you. And that's the problem because we allow that money to exist in politics. And these guys dude, you can never convince me that the Republican Party would vote the same way on guns if the NRA did not have them in their pocket. They wouldn't. They'd have you think Republicans give a fuck that Bubba owns a gun? They don't give a shit. They take that gun in a heartbeat. What did Trump say when he was president? Take the gun, do the fucking investigation later. They don't have any onus for, they love the Second Amendment. No, they love it because it is fiduciarily responsible for them as a party to back it. They don't give a shit about this topic. They don't give a shit about any topic. They don't care about anything. What lines their pockets is what fucking matters. Yeah. And to me, ignoring an entire fucking party so you can slam 3 people, 2 of which, sure, okay, but that is a symptom of a problem, not the cause of the problem. And yelling at Joe Biden does nothing because Joe Biden doesn't fucking support fucking people just having 1,000 guns. It's dumb.
Joe Biden did yesterday exactly what Joe Biden is able to do. The point of the president in a situation like that is to be kind of like the moral conscience of the country, to speak to the outrage,
right,
and to
without furthering it,
to spur the legislators to act. Because as you said, this isn't a kingdom, it's not a fiefdom, it's not a lordship, it's not a fucking oligarchy, it's not a fucking monarchy. Joe Biden cannot wave a magic wand and make guns go away. I'm sorry, he can't. And if you want him to, then you're not very American by your ideals as well. Because as great as that would be, it would be even greater to fucking have this shit codified into law.
Right? Isn't that a thing you guys were yelling about 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Incidentally.
And wouldn't it be nice if Joe Biden could wave magic wand? Sure. Joe Biden could write an executive order tomorrow banning the sale of rifles in the country. And what would happen? The state of Texas, Ken Paxton, would sue him immediately, and then whatever fucking federal court it got assigned to would put a stay on the executive order, making it not take effect. And then 6 months from now, it'll get thrown out by every court that it gets in front of because it's unconstitutional.
Right.
That's what's going to happen. But if you want them to do it, sure. I guess if you want them, if you want fucking Joe Biden to sign an EO, that means nothing.
Right. And this is my thing is I don't like arguments Wow, we are really heated. It's 9 minutes and 58 seconds.
No, fucking pit. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. And again, I've got plenty of anger for Republicans later, but I just wanted to get the fucking do something Twitter bullshit out of the way.
It doesn't do anything. And the thing is, you cannot advocate, or people do. I am not a fan of this. Stop advocating for feel-good measures that don't do anything. Right? Because all that does is get people thinking, because look, spoiler alert, most people don't know how the government works. A lot of people who talk about politics don't understand how government works. Trust me, we know, because we watch this crazy shit people say, and we talk about it all the time, that they don't understand how politics works. So they think Joe Biden can just fucking no more guns, and then that's it. They have no idea that, you know, what it takes to get a constitutional amendment, God forbid, just getting a law passed, how many, you know, votes Democrats have, how many votes Republicans have, you know, how the filibuster works. People don't understand that. So when people who do understand that advocate for do something or whatever, when they do that, and let's say Joe Biden, why don't you just sign an executive order? Well, when you pump up shit like that, people who don't understand, who tangentially follow this stuff, they think, oh, Joe Biden solved it. And then it gets knocked down in courts and nobody hears about that shit. Nobody pays attention to any of that shit except for fucking nerds like us and nerds like you watching this, right? You are the only people who pay attention to this shit. And then they scream, see, Democrats didn't get anything done. You are setting him up. You are setting Democrats up for a situation where then they get blamed for something that you pushed for them to do that you knew wouldn't do anything.
Well, that's why you here's don't the difference too, because I said online, like, even though we know the vote would fail, Chuck Schumer should bring HR 8 to the floor of the Senate, even though we know that, you know, 10, you know, you're not going to get 10 Republicans to vote for it. And someone on Twitter like said to me, well, how's that different than, it's performative, but it's not performative, because if you bring the vote to the floor, you force debate. And if you force debate, then you get clips on fucking C-SPAN of Republicans talking about some bullshit that you can use in campaign ads against them. That's a tangible thing that you could use to fucking fuel yourself later on down the road. Yes, the law won't pass, but it gives you something tangible later. Joe Biden signing an executive order to ban rifles that gets immediately struck down is nothing. It does fucking nothing.
Right. The results are ultimately the same, but at least you get something to weaponize against them in the midterms. And look, HR 8, any sort of gun control law, is going to have a hard time getting a 60 vote threshold. You need Democrats.
Impossible.
Right. You're just not going to get it. But here's yet another example. And then we're going to move on to the right, because boy, do we have plenty to talk about with these fuckers. But here is a prime example of this notion of, I'm tired, I don't want to vote for Democrats. You can't get anything done if you don't fucking get behind the team that is trying. You can't. Are you waiting the Green Party to do it? You can't. You need people who are backing. So what you need to do in the primaries, this is where you're supposed to fight it out in democracy. In the primaries, get as many fucking leftist people who support getting this shit done. That's what you do. When you have some, some centrist who's like, I don't know, maybe guns aren't that bad. Some bullshit centrist who doesn't want to do it. And you got some liberal person that's like, yeah, I think actually we need some real gun control, or, whatever their perspective is that is more to the left of where you want to be, right? On guns. Fight for them. Fight for them. Don't just say, I'm not going to vote. The reason that you don't have more liberals in Congress isn't some conspiracy. It's that people don't vote for them. Right? It doesn't even mean that they're bad candidates. It's just that people decide, I don't give a shit. That's why. So, for one of the rare moments is in Georgia that the primary happened yesterday, that you had the most liberal fucking Democratic candidate run unopposed. That almost never happens. For a governor, for God's sake. Right? Everybody knew, get the fuck out of Stacey Abrams' way, right? But they're backing her. You're only going to get this shit done if you put progressive people on who are willing to do something. Not Nina Turner, who wants to just throw bombs. Yeah, I'm not talking about people like that.
Right.
People who are trying to work together to make progress, real progress.
Yes, progressives that aren't going to alienate liberals and moderates. You need to bring the coalition together. You can't have fucking progressives out here talking some radical bullshit and expect those people to galvanize the party. They're not.
You need, and galvanize is the exact right word. And you don't have to necessarily galvanize from the middle. You don't, right? You can galvanize from the left. Look, a lot of people are pretty, like, a lot of people, myself included, were pretty like, I don't know about AOC or whatever, but she has managed to actually galvanize people from the left because she means what she says and she pushes on the shit that she wants to do. And she's honest and she's real about it. Get those type of people. She's not a bomb thrower, right? She was in the beginning. The beginning, right? Not as bad as Nina Turner, but she was in the beginning. But she got to DC and she was like, oh shit, like you can't get anything done working like that. I'm not confident that Nina Turner learns that fucking lesson at all. I'll go a step further. She will never learn that lesson. Right. Well,
she's out here talking about fucking dark money interest coming from the DNC. Meanwhile, she has double the fucking cash flow coming in the Chantel
right.
Brown.
And she got her ass trounced.
Right. And she's worried about fucking money coming in from the party establishment for Chantel Brown. You have twice the money that she does.
Also, that's what the party's supposed to do.
Yeah, like maybe you just fucking suck at as a candidate that you haven't won an election in Cleveland for fucking 15 years.
Oh, don't worry, Brad. She's going to run for president. So,
God save us.
Yeah.
But yeah,
right, look, I think there is plenty of heat to give people on the like. Just do something. That's not how fucking the government works, man. It doesn't work like that. I get
Republicans are counting on that. They're counting on it.
Yes,
they're counting on 100%.
100%.
So stop fucking falling into the trap that they're laying for you. Essentially,
100%. All right, now let's give some smoke to the right.
Oh my God!
For another hour and 15 minutes.
I gotta tell you, and again, I feel you talked about how yesterday you felt sorrow. I went straight to anger. Because it's literally happened so much in this country that I'm past the point of feeling of getting in my feelings about it because because immediately like the first thing I thought of was like, man, I can't wait to see Republicans fucking roll out the greatest hits of deflecting any and everything they can to deflect away from guns. And sure enough, not only did we get the greatest hits, but we got some new songs because of the specific shooter in this case. We got some shit from the new album. Fucking rocking out so far.
So let's talk about that immediately, right? So Paul Gosar, Gosar the Gozarian, a man so hated that his own family ran ads against him multiple times. Like five of like his siblings, like all four of them were like, fuck that guy, like for real, which is an amazing moment. Wow, dude, you are really hated in your own family. That's crazy.
Your immediate family. This isn't like Paul Gosar's like second cousin twice removed being like, don't vote for Paul Gosar. This is your blood. This is your blood. Yeah, your fucking blood.
I think it was his two sisters and two brothers did an ad for his opponent. We're like, dude, this guy fucking sucks. And we should know it's our brother. I'm like, God damn. But Arizona Republican douchebag Paul Gosar, and he is a real piece of shit. Like he is a real piece of shit. He immediately started tweeting out that that the person who committed this atrocity in Texas was, quote, a transsexual leftist illegal alien. Right. One, let me just state this. Those allegations that this 18-year-old kid, and he is a kid, unfortunately, was trans is not true. This is all just made up on 4chan. Right? This is 4chan's way, and it's not everybody on 4chan. I get that. But the hardcore right-wing trolls on 4chan, this is their way of sort of pumping bullshit into the fucking bloodstream of the news, hoping that one of these morons would pick it up. And Paul Gosar was right there with his fucking mouth wide open for it.
You are underselling this tweet. You're underselling what he said. I'm going to quote what he said because I'm reading
the quote from the article. So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because he tweeted this in reply to Matt Binder, who is a podcast, a lefty podcaster, and the tweet that Paul Gosar actually sent to this guy, and I'm quoting again, We know already, fool. It's a transsexual leftist illegal alien. It's apparently your kind of trash. End quote.
Turns out he deleted that tweet.
Of course he did.
Because kid wasn't trans. This is fucking made up. Kids, there's no evidence of any political leanings, right?
Yeah. He's from North Dakota.
And he was born in North Dakota. Not illegal. All he saw was that this kid was Latin, and then immediately assumed that he was an immigrant. So Paul Gosar's a piece of shit. He was a piece of shit before this, but this is just like fucking just add another tick to his fucking leaderboard. But what's really interesting is like the why. Why would Paul Gosar do this, right? Besides just being a general garbage person, right? You're in Congress, by the way. You're in Congress, by the way. You're not just some dickbag on the internet.
Mm-hmm. You're
in Congress. You're supposed to be a reasonable adult who acts and says things that are reasonable. But Paul Gosar's an asshole. This is the right wing's version. They think that they're doing the same thing that we do on the left with the guy who just killed a bunch of people in Buffalo, 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. They think that's what they're doing, right? We came out and said, this guy's a white supremacist, replacement theory, boom, 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 boom. The difference being, that's what he said.
Yeah.
We're going off of what he said.
Yeah.
His manifesto, his admission of who he is. The right, and Paul Gosar's not the only one, but the right thinks that the first person to label this guy, they get to be right. And even if he was trans, which again, this guy wasn't, even if he was trans, and even if he was an illegal immigrant, which he was not, even if those two things were true, those two things are not the reason he ran into a school and killed 19 kids and 2 teachers. The guy in Buffalo killed those black people in that supermarket because he's a white supremacist. These two things are not the same, right? You can't just go, well, this person killed these students in Texas. He had a beard. Like, the beard isn't the reason, dude. The white supremacy is the reason the guy in Buffalo killed him. These are not the same. And so in their twisted fucking minds, they think that equating those two things, we listed the things he is and they listed the things he is, equal. No, but you didn't even get it right. It wasn't even accurate. So that's par for the fucking course for you dickbags. But it has nothing to do. Those things about him, if they were true, have nothing to do with the reason that he would have done the attack. His entire identity, the guy's identity in Buffalo, was the reason he did it.
Yeah. And again, like you viewed it as that, I think you're probably right. For me, it's just like when shit like this happens, they immediately go to fucking like squirrel mode. Like they're throwing anything they can out.
Oh yeah, they're looking for anything. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're throwing any fucking possible excuse to distract you from the core excuse, which is that the kid was able to buy 2 fucking assault rifles
within a week
legally,
yeah,
on his 18th birthday. That was then able to carry this out. That's why this happened. Like his reasons, I don't really care. We're never going to know because he was killed. We're never going to know the reason why he decided to do this. I don't really care what his reasons were because it doesn't fucking matter. He could not have done this if he did not have access to buy these legally purchased guns in a state that had a mass shooting incident just a couple years before in El Paso. Y'all remember Walmart.
Yep.
And the response from the state government was to make guns more prevalent in society. Was to make the open carry laws less restrictive in society.
Yeah, like the story that I linked to this initial mass shooting story. Yeah, they called it the fuck. It's like I forget the name of the law, right? But the law went into effect on September 1st, allowed anyone over the age of 21 to carry a handgun in most places without permit or training. The bill was put forth by Texas Republicans.
Yeah.
Before the change, Texans had to pass a background check, take a safety course, and take a competency test to get a license. Not anymore.
Nope.
At the time, Texas governor
it's too important. It's too important to be able to carry a fucking gun in Texas, Jay.
He said
that's what really fucking matters.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott at the time said that permitless carry law was the, quote, biggest and best gun law of 2021 that, quote, instilled freedom in Texas. So we're just no longer like, yo, you didn't even have to have a competency test? You didn't have to have a competency test?
No, because that's not in the Second Amendment, Jay. The founders didn't see fit to include competency test requirements for the Second Amendment, so we can't have any restrictions on it because we all look through things in the most myopic fucking way possible in this country.
Shall not be infringed. Not even for like 8 days, bro. Not even for 8 days.
Yep.
So I did think that it was. I think it's relevant. Because we're not done with this conversation by damn sight. But I do think it's relevant to talk about this article I found, which is the difference between gun laws in Canada and in the U.S. Right? Canada's super close. They got guns, but their gun crime is mad low. Mm-hmm. I looked at the gun crime statistics for Toronto, their biggest city. I think it's bigger than Quebec.
It is. It is.
Or, excuse me,
Toronto,
Montreal.
I believe Toronto is the fourth largest city in North America, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's like 1.2 million people, I think I looked the other day.
Oh, it's more than that.
Is it more than that now?
Oh, yeah.
But it's like well over 1 million people, right?
Yeah.
The amount, I Googled gun crime in Toronto, and it was like, the first article was like, gun crime in Toronto is skyrocketing. That's the headline. I'm like, whoa. What's skyrocketing gun crime in Toronto? Got to click on this article. Click on the article, and I'll read it for you because I actually sent this to you and Andy. I believe the title I wrote above this was "Canada is Adorable." Says as of February 27th, shootings were up 47.7% compared to this time last year. The number of people injured is up 70.6%. Yeah, that sounds pretty high, Brad.
That's crazy. I mean, so they must be dealing with hundreds of
thousands,
gun deaths.
Thousands, right? The number of people fatally shot is up 33.3%, and the total number of people injured and killed by gunfire is up 57.7%. If these numbers were in America, we would shut it down. We would build a dome, and we would send in Snake Plissken because that is the reality we live in. Not in Canada, not with those percentages. Article goes on to say, thus far, there have been, and here are the raw numbers, there have been 65 shootings compared to 44 this time last year. 29 people wounded compared to 17 last year. 12 people fatally shot compared to 9 people last year. A total of 41 people wounded or killed compared to 26 last year. 26 people shot or killed in Canada.
Those are rookie numbers, Jay.
Dude, in Toronto. Toronto has more than double the amount of people that Baltimore City has. We average over 300 murders, not shootings, murders a year. They had 26 in all of Toronto. And you can buy a gun in Toronto. Right? I'm not going to compare it to Britain where people are, you can't buy a gun. That's why. No, you can buy guns in Canada. You know what the difference is? They make it real fucking hard. Background checks. In Canada, background checks are very thorough and require a minimum of 28 days. In addition, the person interested in purchasing a gun needs to pass a safety test, and a third-party reference is requested. So you can't be an 18-year-old kid and just go buy 2 long guns. you got to get somebody to come with you.
Mhm.
That's a good thing, right? Because if this kid had somebody, now granted, I don't even think you can be 18. I think you have to probably be 21 in Canada, but I could be wrong about that. Let's even say it's 18. But that kid couldn't, like, they're not going to accept, like, oh, here's my other 18-year-old friend, right? That's not going to cut it. You got to have a parent, right? You got to have somebody of authority to come with you. That's a good thing. Because if that kid has somebody with him and is like, dude, why are you buying 2 AR-15s? Like, somebody's asking questions, right? Because this kid's grandfather, he was living with his grandparents. By the way, he shot and killed his grandmother before he went and killed these people in the school. If he had gone to his grandfather and was like, hey, I want to buy this AR-15, I think they might have been like, no.
Might have asked a couple of questions at least.
Maybe.
Beforehand. And here's the funny thing. So, like, we're told by Republicans all the time, well, you know, if they like these guys, if they want to do this thing, like, you know, making the gun laws tougher is not going to stop them. They're always going to find a way. Isn't it funny how we apply the logic of, well, we can't pass laws because criminals will find a way to do crime to gun laws? Yet we don't apply that logic to all the other stuff that Republicans want to knock down. Like, for example, if you make laws to, you know, get abortions, people still get abortions anyway, right? So why even bother making the laws?
Why
if you don't want,
why have any laws? Why have
if you
any
don't want
laws?
Florida, if you don't want Florida teachers to, you know, like you know, it's not, kids are going to be gay anyway in Florida. So why are we passing laws that teachers can't talk about, you know, like homosexuality in schools? That's weird. It's weird how that logic from them applies singularly to this one area and not anywhere else.
And look, this might sound offensive, and I mean it to. That's because Republicans are fucking idiots. They're idiots. Yeah. And they're also disingenuous, right? Like, they know that doesn't make any sense. They know. They're aware. Yeah. But they also know that no one ever calls them on that shit. Not hard enough. They don't. They don't
at all. Like any
the news media does not call them on that shit.
Yeah, Monterrey was talking to Marco Rubio today in the Senate, and like Marco Rubio basically, oh, you know, you can't stop them from happening, and you know, fucking shoveling his feet like a little teenager. And the follow-up question should be, well, but so then why are you guys trying to pass laws restricting abortion? Like, if laws are ineffective to curbing behavior, then why would you even do that? What's the point?
The God? I don't know. Like, right? It's all bullshit, right? Like, their idea that like no laws that would affect them directly should be ever passed, but things that affect like what they would deem, you know, people on the left, then yeah, absolutely pass all that shit, right? I saw this, and I'm proud of myself, I have to say. I saw somebody write on like under an article about this, like on Instagram, it's like on Washington Post or something. And I was reading the comments stupidly. And like, what the hell's wrong with me? Just keep scrolling, you fucking moron. And this guy's like, well, I don't know why you guys care about this anyway. You know, you liberals are just aborting babies every day anyway. I'm like, one, do you think everyone is just having abortions constantly? Like, do you understand how adults have no, you don't really understand. Got it. And like his thought process is, well, you guys support abortion, so why do you care about these kids? And I'm thinking to myself, why are you so flippant about it? I thought you guys were pro-life. Like, what the fuck? Our stance is pro-choice. It's not pro-death. That's not the choice. But their logic is so, their brains they are so twisted in knots that it quite literally makes it difficult for them to have salient, intelligent conversations, because their points, they don't connect up with each other. They don't. Mm-hmm. You can't sit there and say that you are the pro-life party, and then it's like, cool, then why don't we protect life by banning the easy access? I'm not even talking about banning access. Easy access to guns. Easy access. You can't tell me that we could not adopt a national fucking registry on guns, right? We're not here to collect your guns. We're not here to collect your guns. We're here to just write the fucking serial numbers down, dude. What do you got? You got 14 AR-15s. Joe Bob, you got 14 AR-15s. Here are the serial numbers. That's all we need, dude. That's all we need. That's all we're here for. Well, why do you need to know, how many guns I have? I don't know. Why do I need to know whether you have a fucking driver's license? Same fucking reason, dude.
Like, why do I need to know the VIN number of your car?
Right.
Why,
it's none of your business. What the fuck are you talking about? It's a weapon used to kill people. Look, all of this obsession and bullshit rhetoric about, it's a weapon I use for hunting. I'm a hunter. Then what the fuck are you so secretive about? If you're doing a legal thing, and that's fine. I don't have a problem with people hunting. I don't give a fuck. I ain't doing it, but it's fine. I'm not I don't have some moral but what about the deer? Deer lives matter. I don't give a fuck. Deer get in the way. Okay. I get it. Right. Look, better you shoot them than they hit my car. Okay. So look, seriously, but
I've been hit by a deer. I know. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Look, a deer ran into the side of my car once. It was fucking insane.
That happened to me once too.
Dude, I was fucking terrified. I'm like, Jesus Christ. The deer was it went nuts. Good. I'm okay with a hunter shooting that deer and making venison. No problems. Zero. I'll eat it. It's fine. If you are doing things that are legal, if you say that hunting is your thing, this is my heritage, blah, 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 all that jerk off bullshit, then what are you so secretive about? What do you need to hide this information for? For what?
Because they're going to come take them, Jay. The government, once they have registry, they're going to come take your guns. And
Spoiler alert. All that tough guy talk, they're not coming to take my guns. Guess what, motherfucker? They want to come take your guns. They'll come take your guns. Right?
And here's the thing. There are some people that they fucking should.
Yes.
I'm sorry, but if we have a national registry and then someone gets a domestic violence conviction, probably a good idea for that person not to have guns in the house. Gotta say. Hey, how about this? Domestic violence, you end up in the hospital for mental illness. You're done. CPS call, right? Like a violent CPS call. You're beating on your kids and shit like that. Yeah, those guns gotta go. And here's the thing that gets me. And I get we're in our fucking bubble with our listeners and people that we follow on Twitter and this and the other thing.
Yeah,
there's not almost to a man in my life, almost every single person I know that owns guns and multiple guns, not just the shotgun to scare off the burglar, but literally multiple guns, is pro more gun regulation and gun control.
70% are. 70% of gun owners are yeah, dude, it's fine. Because they're not doing anything wrong. What the fuck do they care? Hey, man, I got this one long gun. I go hunting with my buddies, a couple times a year. All right. Dude, I don't give a fuck. Look, I have family that lives out in the Midwest, right? Hunting is a big, and they're Christian conservatives. It's very weird. It's actually it's actually super weird that I'm related to these people, but they're nice enough people. I got no hate for them, but hunting is a big part of their culture, man. It just is. The dad is hey, here's my rack of guns, and I was like, that's cool. Nah, I'm black, dude. My penis is perfectly fine. I don't need to own 7 guns. I'm fine. I satisfy my wife. I'm good. So that's a part of their culture, right? And it's a part of their culture. But that guy ain't doing nothing wrong with his guns.
No.
He takes his daughters out, teaches them how to hunt. That's his thing. That's how he bonds with his family. And there's nothing wrong with that. Just register your guns then. Register them with the state. The state registers the shit up to the federal government. We got an active fucking federal database. They won't let the federal database be digital.
Yes. Yeah.
They purposely keep it old and antiquated so that they cannot track your shit.
Yep.
What in the Constitution says that shit? What says that?
It certainly doesn't. And here's the thing. What we've led to because of this is that, and this is an insane thing to think, but guns are literally the leading cause of death in this country of children.
Yep.
And I don't understand how that's possible. Like, I don't. And for you to see, for people to see that and think that there's not a gun culture problem in this country. People are not just going out there every day on a whim and murdering kids with guns. It's not happening. And yet, despite that, they're still the leading cause of death in the country, even though it doesn't happen all the time every day, even though that we've only, even though that these school shootings are quite frequent considering what they are. But it's not like we're having a school shooting a day in this country or anything like that.
Right, but there's a lot of gun crime in drive-bys in inner cities and stuff like that. And look, Republicans are going to go to that argument. Oh, but what about Chicago? One, you don't give a fuck about Chicago.
No,
let me be the first. Let me be the 1 millionth black person to say, stop pretending you give a fuck about black people.
Right, and the guns are getting busted from the surrounding states where it's illegal to purchase.
From the fucking hyper conservative states that they can go buy AR-15s and God knows whatever else.
But before it was guns, that was the leading cause of death of children in this country. It was cars. And so what did we do? As a country, we said, wow, too many kids people in general, but too many kids especially, are dying from cars. So let's regulate car safety. Let's regulate drunk driving. Let's regulate this. Let's regulate that. And magically, through the power of regulation, cars became safer. Drunk driving became less frequent.
Right.
And kids stopped dying in cars in the numbers that they were dying previously. I get the feeling if you do the same thing with guns, you might just have it. But here's the problem is that there's a statistic that came out. It was like since 2009. What was it? I can't remember how many hundreds of kids have died in school shootings. And there's a piece of shit Republican asshole on Twitter Dan McLaughlin, who always has like terrible fucking takes.
Yeah.
And his response to that statistic was, "Oh, so it's like 7 a year? That's not that bad."
Yo, what if it was your kid? What if it was your kid?
But they don't think about that, Jay, because they can't possibly make here. And that's the thing. Like
there is zero. They have no empathy, dude. They cannot empathize with anything else. But that's the Republican. That's like the number one Republican issue, by the way. That is why fundamentally they are a party that needs to go away. Right?
Yeah.
They don't have any ability to empathize with the common man anymore. None. And as much as their
voters do.
Class fucking bullshit. But they don't. They don't.
Right. But there was a point when the news first creeped out yesterday where I'm sure that many parents of elementary school kids probably saw something come across or heard something. There's a school shooting at an elementary school in Texas without more detail than that.
Right.
And I would imagine that if you were a parent of an elementary school student in Texas, at that moment in time, before you learn the details, your fucking stomach sinks because you immediately think, holy shit, that could be my kid.
Right.
And I don't understand how those people have that fleeting moment of terror. And it doesn't motivate them to do something different, to vote for different politicians that are gonna move to actually try to keep their kids safe. And instead, they're out here with the fucking people that are like, well, why don't we give them ballistic blankets to fucking wear in school? Why don't we give teachers guns? The teachers can't talk about fucking homosexuality and slavery,
but they're allowed to have a fucking 9mm.
We trust them to fucking protect our kids with fucking rifles. That's totally fine. Why don't we arm kids with guns? Why don't the kids have to have fucking see-through backpacks to make sure that they don't have that they're not sneaking guns into school? Bulletproof backpacks. Like we're investigating every single fucking other option that's on the table, no matter how ridiculous, instead of excising the tumor that exists. Like you're treating the symptoms, you're not treating the root cause.
Right.
Stop it.
Right. Like it's the idea of telling little kids that they need ballistic blankets instead of saying, hey, why don't we pass this thing so that maybe we have to wait 28 days to get a gun? You're literally prioritizing guns over fucking kids. And you're the party that says you're pro-life.
Yeah.
You're not pro-life. You're pro-fucking gun. You're pro-gun.
Today's suggestion, Jay, you're going to like this. It's fucking great. Ted Cruz going on TV saying, you know what? What if the schools only had one entrance and exit? Then it would be so easy to fucking police coming in and out. I think the fire department might have something to say about that.
Right, dude. But like, why do we put chains on the doors too? What the fuck is this? Lean on me? What the fuck are you talking about, dude? That's insane.
Here, I've got better ideas.
He should literally be fucking booted out of Congress for saying something so fucking stupid. Tell you what. You know, we're giving the Department of Defense a shitload of money anyway. We're paying like Raytheon and you know, getting rich off government contracts. How about how about they develop real life Ed 209s and we station an Ed 209 in the hallway of every single school in the country? Because that idea is as realistic and fucking right. and fucking pragmatic as half the shit that Republicans are suggesting right now. I mean, one thing I will say, and like in fairness to all of these ideas, as long as we don't have stairs, the Ed 209 will be fine. Fuck. Did we forget the stairs? Oh shit, we need ramps.
Oh man, the Ed 209 accidentally murdered another kid. That's
no big deal. Fucking X-rated RoboCop.
Yeah, we're sliding perilously close to RoboCop Detroit right now. Like we are this close to OCP coming in and just fucking taking over the joint at this point. Yeah.
Like, we need some good corporate leaders to ensure that fucking androids walking the street is the only way that we can, survive. And look, just deal with the real issue. Listen to this fucking moron, Ronnie Jackson. I can't believe people put this guy in fucking Congress. Ronnie Jackson says, quote, "It's unfortunate that the media is going to focus on guns since the real cause of school shootings is," Brad, I'll give you, he names two things. The real cause of school shootings. I'll give you two guesses as to what he says.
Mental illness.
Okay.
And video games.
1 out of 2 ain't bad. You definitely got video games right. The other one, drum roll for somehow making it about black people, rap music.
Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Ronnie Jackson, a doctor, like a real doctor. This guy, rap music and video games are what caused people to shoot up schools. By the way, it wouldn't matter if every rap song was like, kill kids, get a gun and kill kids. It wouldn't matter if that was the lyrics to every rap song on the fucking radio. They have access. They have unfettered access to guns. That's the problem. Spoiler alert, does Ronnie Jackson think video games and rap music doesn't exist anywhere else in the world?
Yes, he probably does, in all honesty. Because these fucking numpty-headed mumpkins aren't able to think outside of these fucking borders of this country. They don't realize that things exist outside of America. So no, I would imagine that half the conservatives out there probably don't realize that the same video games and the same rap music exists everywhere around the world. And yet somehow they can't put it through their fucking pea brains that the one thing that's different happens to be access to firearms in this country. And maybe that's why we have all the shootings, and maybe that's why no one fucking else does.
It's interesting because often I've been known to say this out loud. Wow, there definitely is no rap music or video games in Japan. Like, as everyone knows, no video games in Japan. Huge video game culture over there, so I hear. But like, what are you talking about? Little,
home of a little independent company called Nintendo that you may have heard of before.
Small.
That's right. A little cottage company.
Yeah, hopefully they'll make it one day. Yeah. But like this idea that you will blame quite literally anything else but unfettered access to guns. What are you so scared of? The NRA. That's what you're scared of.
And why? And why? The NRA is not the fucking NRA like it was 10 years ago. It's not. And they're sitting out here getting dunked on by fucking Tish James and getting wrecked.
Right. Look,
crazy.
If anything, Tish James is on the cusp of being the world's greatest hero is destroying the NRA, right?
Yes.
Though I don't think she will be successful. But at this point, now would be a great time for her to be successful. Let's talk about, before we move on, because it's almost been an hour, but we're going to come back because the theme of this episode is the Republican Party is in fact garbage. Actually, probably a good title as far as I'm concerned. But what I want to talk about is political implications, right? Because I wanted to wait to the very end of this conversation to talk about that. Beto interrupted a big panel that was happening today where all the fucking shit-kicking Republicans were like, yeah, we're gonna fucking, this is a tragedy. And it was like, dude, you don't really give a fuck about these people. You don't
Boy, I gotta tell you though, all I thought of when I saw that clip and saw the mayor of can't remember the town's name now, that where the shooting took place.
It's like Uvalde or Uvalde or
getting fucking angry. Just reminded me of that Andrew Gilliam line. Boy, a hit dog will holler. Like,
That's
hey,
right.
Boy, did they get mad at Beto O'Rourke for fucking calling them out publicly for this bullshit.
Because what did he say? You aren't doing anything. And they're not doing anything. They're actually, Beto's wrong. They're doing something, going the other way. They're not just standing still. They're going the other way.
And I would, everyone's seen the clip of Beto, talking shit to them in the press conference. I would implore you to find the clip of him outside of the building. When he talks about the shit that they're doing, the fact that Texas is last in mental health care in the United States of America, the fact that their biggest mental health facility is a fucking prison in Texas, the fact their biggest medical care facility is a fucking prison in Texas, and the fact that the government is actively regressing the laws, and reporters tried to interrupt him, and he just talked over him. He was like, "Shut the fuck up!" He was more animated than I've ever seen him, and that's the kind of shit that you need.
But that, not since El Paso, right? That's where he made his fucking mark. Look, like I said to you and Andy, I'm very lukewarm on Beto. I really am. I'm not blown away by Beto. I don't dislike him, but I was very lukewarm on him. This is what I want to see. This is a type of fucking anger and fucking passion you need. That bang on and bullshit article we talked about last week about touching at the heart of fucking constituents and getting them amped up and fired up to get to the polls. This. And look, I get it. You don't want to take advantage of it, right? I totally understand that sentiment of you want to fucking be cool. But look, the anger is real. The anger is real, man. The anger is real. Use it. Point, though, use it.
Yes, is he scoring political points by doing this? Absolutely. Like that. But that's
no.
I truly believe that's not why he's doing it. He's not. It's not like
no.
Beto
I think he really gives a fuck.
Yeah, it's not like Beto went there and be like, "Oh man, I can't wait to fucking get a nice bump up in my polling numbers as I'm running for governor." That's not his motivation. He truly wants to fix the fucking problem and truly believes that as long as Greg Abbott is the fucking governor of Texas, sitting up there in his fucking whack ass fucking fake ass Texas Ranger fucking shirt that he's on there, whenever he has to talk about a fucking disaster, that Greg Abbott's not going to do it.
Yep.
And that the Republicans that are elected aren't going to do it. And that enough's enough.
Yeah.
Again, El Paso happened, and they're like, we need to make it easier to have guns out there. And the fucking, if there's anything that destroys their argument, like Republicans are actually out here fucking arguing about arming teachers and having more armed people in schools. The police literally, according to reports, confronted the shooter outside of the school before he went in.
Yep. And
the reason that they didn't stop him is because they were worried about their safety, because he was wearing body armor, or at least they thought he was. I saw another report that said he didn't have any plates. But they couldn't know that. But he was wearing body armor, and so they waited for backup because it would be them on the line. And they let him go into a fucking school where he then murdered 21 people, 19 of them kids. What are you there for? What are you there for?
Look, I hate to say this because I can only say this because of hindsight, right? I wasn't there. I'm not those cops. He's holding an AR-15.
Two. Well, I guess he might only had one, but still.
He's holding an AR-15. He's wearing body armor, and he's outside of a school. Guess what? Does he have body armor on his head? Shoot him. Put as many bullets. Look, you can. Yeah, you're wearing body armor, dude. You unload enough bullets into somebody, it will slow them down. Like you're not a robot, dude.
Let me ask you a legit question.
Sorry,
let me ask you a legit question.
This kid had an AR-15. He was near school. Fucking dude, it's Texas. People will be fine. They're not gonna get. Well, I mean, fuck. We execute the people with mental illness, so who gives a fuck, dude? You gotta die. Sorry, it is what it fucking is.
If the shooter was black, does he make it in the school?
No, I mean this kid was Latin. This kid was Latin. So I mean,
yeah, but down in Texas, like that's not that's whatever. They don't have that same level of prejudice.
No, if he was black, no, done. Done.
But that's
get the fuck out of here.
But
why are you waiting? Why are you waiting?
Question black people don't fucking go shoot up schools.
Well,
I've never seen a black mass shooter. I could be wrong. I'm probably
the DC sniper is quite literally the only one.
Yeah,
DC sniper. Those two guys were the only ones, right? Like, which is why it was such a shock. Because, that's one thing. I don't often say that publicly, but this is a very white people problem.
Oh, super. Yeah.
100%. It's a very much majority of white people problem. I get that this kid was Latin, sure. And I know the Virginia Tech shooter, he was Asian a number of years ago. But 99% of these guys are white. And it's often equated or conflated. Well, look at all the shootings that happen in schools and these urban environments. And what about Chicago? Unless it's a drive-by shooting, which they're just shooting. They're not trying to hit random people, but they're trying to hit a certain person and they're just spraying, right? And so they just don't give a fuck. That's very different than going into a school knowing that there is nobody there that has done anything to you and just murdering, right? You're just shooting people
indiscriminately. It's not like you're targeting specific people. You're just
shooting anybody, right?
Yeah.
The reason those things I don't equate them in my mind. It's not that one is nicer or better, quote unquote, but there is a profound difference. The gun crimes and shit like that happen in Chicago and stuff like that, that's gang violence. That's drug violence, right? That's you owe me money type of shit. When kids get shot in black schools, those two kids know each other, right? Yeah. Those kids have had a fucking interaction. So that's why black kids don't go in and do mass shootings. One, black kids don't own AR fucking 15s. They don't. Spoiler alert, part of it, poverty, right? They don't. So they don't go in with a gun with a huge magazine just spraying down the fucking school. They don't do that. They go, I'm going to shoot Johnny because Johnny owed me money. Johnny got into a fight with me. Whatever. Doesn't make that killing less significant or less serious, but that's the difference. These kids are fucked up, and then they're just like, I'm going to kill everybody. Also, that's kind of a systemic thing with whiteness in this country. Mm-hmm. I'm angry. Everybody got to die. It's just the reality. White supremacy. What is the replacement theory? They're trying to replace us. Kill everyone who isn't us. That's it. Yep. It don't got nothing to do with anybody specifically. Yeah, black people are the number one killers of other people, in this country. We got to talk about that. Yeah, they're killing each other because of a drug issue or some shit like that. Now, if you want to talk about systemic issues, we can talk about why that's there. But you don't want to talk about that shit.
We don't want to have that conversation, Jay.
You don't want to have that conversation.
We don't actually want to fix the problem. We just want to use it as a political cudgel that you don't hit us.
To bash us over the fucking head with. You don't give a fuck about Chicago. You don't give a fuck about Baltimore City. You don't care. So stop bringing this shit up. And see, to me, these are the arguments that Beto and these other guys need to be making. Stop bringing up Chicago. You don't care about it. If you cared about Chicago, then you would care about making sure that guns in Indiana aren't easily transferable over to Illinois. That's what you would care about. You'd put gun checks at the borders of every fucking major highway going into the next state. If you really cared, you care about life. Cool. What about the black lives of those kids? You don't give a fuck about them. What happened to all lives matter? Right? Do they matter over the 21 people who were just killed? What about the 10 people who were just killed in Buffalo? Do they matter? No, they don't matter. It's just like you said. It's just used as a cudgel to protect themselves and to bash liberals over the head with. You don't give a fuck about babies. You don't. I'm gonna prove it in fucking 2 stories. I'm gonna prove it in 2 stories that you don't believe. You don't give a fuck about little kids. Not just talking about kids getting killed in a mass shooting. You don't give a fuck about kids, period. You're not the pro-life party. You're the anti-democratic party. That's what you really are. What do liberals and Democrats say? Cool, take the opposite fucking point of view. No matter how fucking absurd it is. Oh, so but my religion says
all they have at this point.
Right. My religion tells me I have to be pro-life. Have you read the Bible? Because it don't really say that, but whatever.
Lot of murder in the Bible. Just gotta say.
Look, not just murder. You can look it up. I'll find the fucking whatever the verse and chapter is in the book. I definitely said that backwards. Book, chapter, verse. That talks about, like, look, if you think your wife cheated on you, give her this potion, and if the baby doesn't come, then, well, she didn't. That's an abortion. What the fuck? Like, dude, it's in the book. It's in the book. They advocate for doing that. That's in the book. And I know that people don't know that because they don't read it. They don't read it. Everybody's got the book. Nobody reads the fucking book. Go to your local fucking Motel 6, pick up a Gideon's. But they don't read the shit. They don't read the shit that they advocate for. And that's not, look, I'm not trying to slam people on religion. I'm just saying, don't use religion as a way of like, this is a thing I believe. You don't even fucking read the shit. You don't. Because if you read it, they'd be like, but that's different. That is devastating to my argument. Like, I'm not going to talk about it. So, like, it's bullshit. They don't care about kids. They don't give a fuck about poor people. They don't really, like we discussed 2 weeks ago, they don't give a fuck about white people. They give a fuck about lining their pockets. So ultimately, the way that you fix the Republican Party isn't by putting more sane Republicans in. They don't exist.
Not anymore.
The way to fix the Republican Party and help to fix the country, get money out of fucking politics. Get money out of politics. When Bernie was on that shit, I was 100% behind him. And then he was like, well, we got to do these other things and then we can get money out. No. Fundamentally, getting money out of politics fixes so much overnight. Mm-hmm. Cool. Hey, here comes the NRA to lobby to you. Well, what?
Yeah.
We're going to say something bad about you. You paying me? No, then I don't give a fuck. People say something bad about me all the time, dude. That shit doesn't do anything for the Republican Party.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll shame them by pointing out their hypocrisy. They don't give a fuck. I'm not going to tell you this story about the baby formula vote in a few minutes to shame them. No. I'm telling you so you have information to throw in your uncle's face at Thanksgiving. That's what this show is about. Okay, that's the end of the free portion for this week's episode of Look Forward. Make sure you go to lookforwardshow.com/premium. Sign up for premium content. It's only $5 a month or $50 for the full year.